it's feeling a bit grim this Christmas. Has the Chancellor stolen it? There are claims that her budget, in fact, what she said before the budget, really, has kept us shoppers off the high street.
£30 billion tax rise, that's what it was. Recent figures suggest that consumers are being cautious now with their spending.
Yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? Because it just makes everything worse for the high street, which is already struggling. Political commentator Andy Williams is here. There's no doubt, is there? For whatever reason, the Chancellor has talked the economy down, particularly in the run-up to the budget, and that does have consequences.
No, I think that's right. I mean, she was talking the economy down when Labour were in opposition, and she made, excuse me, she was absolutely right that, you know, Labour inherited a mess. They did inherit a mess. And I know that people don't want to hear that, but it's true. Unfortunately, confidence matters, and leaders, political leaders, Prime Minister, the Chancellor, projecting confidence is really, really important. Now, I did not like Boris Johnson at all. I have no time for him whatsoever. But one thing he was very good at is projecting confidence. He had that sort of sunny optimism. He was able to make it seem like there was something better on the horizon. And that is not a skill that Rachel Reeves or Keir Starmer have. I actually think one of the problems they made strategically and from a communications perspective is making Rachel Reeves the front woman for this government. I actually believe she's a smart, capable individual with integrity, but she's not a front woman. And I think it matters to have somebody who can front up.
But how can... Look, I mean, it's not about personal criticisms. Right? I'm certainly not in the game of attacking people on a personal level. But in terms of what she has done as Chancellor, everything which the government said they wanted to achieve was being funded through growth, primarily. And the policies she has enacted, the economic policies, have not only not brought growth, they've stifled growth. And that's very hard to it's very hard to look at her and say, well, she's behaved with, she's very clever and she's behaved with integrity.
I'd love to disagree with you, but I can't. You know, you have to judge them on their own terms and their own track record. And they said it was growth, growth, growth above everything. And actually, the first budget, you know, 2% on employee national insurance absolutely did not do that.
Stifling growth.
Stifling growth, killing jobs. We know from the figures that, you know, we heard it anecdotally, and now we've seen through the data that jobs are being cut as a result of that budget. And in the last budget, honestly, that was a budget for the public sector. It was a budget for public sector workers. So if you have a public sector pension, if you're a civil servant, if you're a pensioner, or if you're out of work, that was a good budget for you. What that was not a good budget for was businesses or people who work in the private sector.
And growth.
And growth.
And growth.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
The point is that, surely, that what Stephen was saying, though, is about communicating. And if you say there's no jam now, and there'll be no jam in the future, then everybody pulls their horns in. It's not even a kind of, is it? I mean, it's just, I was just looking at the restaurants near me. They're half empty. This should be a time when everybody goes out. And then when I was asking somebody recently, should we just go out and have lunch? And she just said, I can't really afford that at the moment.
Yeah.
And actually, she probably can. But it's just that you don't want to if you're worried about the fact that in the future you will look back at that and go, I shouldn't have done that.
And that's why inflation is such a problem, because you hear governments all the time say, "Oh, inflation's coming down." The problem is it's already happened.
Yeah,
so
too late.
You go into the supermarket and people go, "That's £2 for a pack of biscuits." I mean, it's
I know.
And butter, very basic things are now very expensive, and living standards hasn't risen. Now, I don't know what the solution is, but the point is that the government came in and they said, we're going to get growth going, we're going to put more money in people's pockets, and that hasn't happened yet.
No.
Well, I tell you what strikes me from our conversation, Andy. You are someone who is politically to the left of centre.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes, yeah. And I voted Labour, and I was on your show 2-3 years ago saying I really wanted this to happen.
Yeah, you really wanted Labour, and now you are unable to defend what the Chancellor is doing. Now, if that's coming from someone like you, that's a very bad sign for government, isn't it?
Very bad. The problem with this government is there's no part of the Labour Party, and not just the party, but there is almost nobody I know who voted for Labour who's happy with them, because people like me, who are more in the centre, on the right of the Labour Party, we're not happy because Starmer's not abiding by what he said he was going to do, which is get growth going, be proactive about boosting the private sector, etc., etc. And people on the left aren't happy because he's not left-wing enough. So they're caught between two stools. Nobody is happy with this government. His personal ratings are, I think, the worst of any prime minister in history, which I think is a bit unfair, but I mean, it's true. He's so
I'll tell you
deeply unpopular.
what it is, though, is you look back and you go, they should have been bold at the beginning, because they swam in on a huge mandate. Excuse me, the frogs are moving. You've had a frog as well. But they should have come in when everybody was behind them and everybody wanted change. And if they'd have made some bold moves and said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to, I don't know, potholes, for example. Look at things that you can actually get and go, right, we're going to sort out all the potholes, because that makes people feel better.
I couldn't agree more. And actually, my biggest bugbear and gripe with this government is, as you said, they had a huge majority, a massive mandate. I know people say, oh, it's thin, no one really voted for them. They got 10 million votes.
Exactly.
180 seat majority. They could have come in and said, we're going to do what's necessary to really change the game. And that,
to make people feel better.
Yes, and this isn't something that would make people feel better.
No.
But the biggest political moment of this year was that welfare vote, where the left of the Labour Party said, you're not in control, we're in control, and that's game over as far as I'm concerned for Keir Starmer. I think we'll be sitting here next year and there'll be a different Prime Minister.
I'll tell you what intrigues me then. Again, you don't have to answer because it's a personal question. But if there was a general election tomorrow, who would you vote for?
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
You're not obliged to answer. It's a private decision.
I don't know whether, hand on heart, I could vote Labour. I mean, I couldn't vote Reform. I definitely couldn't vote for any party led by Cammy Badenoch or Nigel Farage.
All right.
So,
but would you vote Was Lib Dems tempting?
Look, I mean,
because this is going to be interesting. It's a case of all these different parties seeing where, or the Labour Party certainly, where will their votes bleed to?
Well, everywhere is the answer. I mean, that's the problem. We know that the Greens are doing really, really well. Hopefully, the Zara Sultana, Jeremy Corbyn thing is sort of dead on arrival, so that's good news. But there's votes going to the Greens, there's votes going to Reform, there's probably some votes going back to the Tories as well. Bleeding everywhere. And I mean, a government with 18 months in, with that majority on sort of 16% in the polls I can't believe we're here, but we are.
Unbelievable here. All right, really good to see you, Andy. Thank you very much indeed.